welcome to another video. Now if you're a bit confused, I'm aware that I'm not a BOOKTUBE account, but I have decided that I'm going to do one book video every month, and it's going to consist of a wrap up of the previous month that's just been, and also my TBR, to be read, list for the month that's upcoming. So this is the first one, so it's going to be a wrap up of all the books I read in January, what I thought, a brief review. I'm going to try and give each one like a star rating as well, and then it's going to be a list of all the books I want to read in February. Now at the moment it's obviously, we're still in lockdown in the UK, so I do have more time to read than I would like normally. Normally I'd have a part-time job at the same time as a full-time dance degree course. So yeah, depending on the lockdown situation will depend on how much I get to read basically. But I have my fingers crossed that now that I've been reading for like a good amount of time, like I started reading properly about a year ago, and obviously kept it up through the first lockdown into the end of last year, and I've managed to keep it up this far. So I'm hoping that even when life goes back to normal that I can still kind of keep it going. And the idea behind these videos as well is to keep myself accountable at the same time. So let's get into it. So I've set my Goodreads reading challenge for this year as 30 books, which is quite ambitious for me. Last year in 2020 I managed to read 22 books, and yeah, I wasn't into reading the entire year, so I've upped it a little bit. I did actually have it at 20 because I thought, you know, this year's going to go back to normal, like we're going to get straight back into like normal life and I won't have as much time. And then I ended up putting on my vision board that I wanted to read 30 books, so here we are. And then with the lockdown and everything, I have managed to read 4 books in January already, so hopefully I'll be able to stick to it. But yeah, let's get into the video. Let's start with the books I read in January. So the first one was Paper Towns by John Green. I actually started this in December last year, but I technically read most of it in January, so I'm including it in this. I really enjoyed it. It was like just an easy read, and John Green's like one of those authors that I read a lot in my, not childhood, like teenage years. So it kind of took me back to that kind of time. It was a book that I found in a charity shop. I'll link the videos to all the charity shop book haul up here. I read it really quickly, like a couple of days. It wasn't that long of a book. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't 5 stars. I think I gave it, I was going to get my Goodreads up, but my Goodreads is on my phone, which is, yeah. I think I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I'll link my Goodreads in the description box as well, and if you want to be friends on there, hit me up because I want more Goodreads friends. So yeah, that was the first one, Paper Towns by John Green, and I give that 4 stars. Next up was, right, okay, here's where a little diversion happened, because I started reading Women Don't Owe You Pretty by Florence Given, and I didn't get very far. In fact, is my bookmark still in here? I got to chapter 3, which is like 40 pages in, and I got given this for Christmas, and obviously it's all over Instagram, so I was like, it was pretty high up on my to read list. And then as I started reading it, all the drama between Florence and Chidera the Sunflower kicked off basically, or came to light I should say, because it definitely started before that, but that happened. And then I just felt really guilty about reading Florence's book when all the stuff was going on about Chidera's. So basically, if you don't know the drama, Chidera the Sunflower wrote a book that was very similar to Florence's before Florence, I believe, and then this book apparently took all of the like ideas and things from Chidera's book, and then this one has been doing really well, and apparently Chidera's book has been taken off the shelves. It's really hard to get your hands on, and they have the same, I think it's the publisher or management that is the same between the two of them, and it just all kicked off. There's a lot more like in it, like if you want to know more about it, I highly recommend giving it a Google or going on both their profiles, because it's a whole drama. But yeah, basically I stopped reading this after that, and I wasn't really getting into it because I was aware of like all the stuff that was kicking off, and it didn't feel like right morally to carry on reading it. So, because then I was like, well, I'll just buy TBR's book, I'll read that first, and then I'll read this one so I can kind of see. And then someone else told me that apparently TBR was also stealing ideas from like somewhere else, and it was just like a big vicious cycle. So I was like, I don't know what to do about this anymore, I'm just gonna stop reading it. But yeah, now I'm kind of thinking I probably will go back to it and just read this, because I've got it anyway, like the damage has been done. But I do want to try and get my hands on TBR's somehow. If anyone else has any like thoughts or anything on that whole situation as well, leave them in the comments, because I enjoy talking to people about it and I like to hear other people's like sides of it, and yeah, that's a whole discussion. Basically this book meant that I didn't read as much in January that I could have done, because I spent ages umming and ahhing about whether I should read this or not. So yeah, I read like 3 chapters. After that whole situation, I started reading Eve of Man, which is Tom and Giovanna's new series that they're co-writing together. I got sent this one for Christmas by one of my friends, and it was very good. It's very like a mix between Hunger Games, Divergent, kind of Handmaid's Tale, like that kind of vibe. Kind of dystopian, and it's basically about, I'm not going to give any spoilers by the way in any of these reviews, I'll just basically tell you if I liked it or not, but a little bit more context on this one. It's basically Eve is the last girl on Earth, and she basically has to like pick a potential, they're called, to procreate with and like save the human race basically. But yeah, it's really good. They've got like 2 characters, so I'm assuming Giovanna wrote Eve and Tom wrote Bram. I think that's how it works. But yeah, I read this really quickly. The story was like, grabbed me in. It's with a slow start I think, and then I read it very quickly once I got like a third of the way through. So as I was nearing the end of this one, I ordered the next one in the trilogy, which is The Eve Illusion. Okay, this is annoying me for starters, that this one's a paperback and this one's a hardback, and the size difference is quite upsetting, but didn't realise it, I just wanted to read it so I ordered it. Also the text in this one is huge in comparison to this one. So I actually feel like because the text is so much bigger in this one, I read it quicker because I was like, felt easier to read, if that makes sense. Does anyone else have that? This one I wasn't as convinced of at the start, because I was like, where are you going with this? Like, it's not as good as the first one. And I just felt like they were dragging it out at the beginning, but I literally only felt like that for the first probably like 50 pages or so, and then I got so into this one, and I almost want to say I enjoyed this one more than the first one towards the second half of the book, because so much happened. I got to the end of this one and then I was like, oh my god, the third one isn't out yet, like I can't go straight into the next one, because the second I finished this one I went straight into the second one. So yeah, highly recommend this. I would give these books both 5 stars. I think that's what I rated them on Goodreads. But yeah, this one was like overall better because I felt like from start to finish, and because of like the originality and everything. And then this one, by the end of it I was like, my mind is blown and I need the third one now. The last book I read in January is The Goddess Revolution by Mel Wells. It's Make Peace with Food, Love Your Body and Reclaim Your Life. So it's kind of like self-help vibes, very anti-diet focused and focusing on mindset and like healing your mindset towards food, towards your body, body confidence, body image, all of that good stuff. This was a super easy read. The chapters are like really short, if you can see from that. And it's got loads of like quotes and like testimonials from her clients, because she's I think it's like a life coach. I don't know what she calls herself. Health coach, yeah. She basically has a health coaching business, like where she coaches women like one-to-one about their mindset around food and all of that stuff. So if you suffered with like any disordered eating or anything like that, or even if you've just been on a diet or you want to like appreciate your body more, then I highly recommend this to you. She also has another book which I think is called Hungry for More, I want to say, which I will get around to reading this year as well. This is also my flatmate's book and I've borrowed it, but I do want to get my own copy because it's one of those that you can kind of come back and reread at different stages in your life, or like refer back to, or there's things in here that I wanted to like highlight and stuff like that, so I think I'm going to get my own one. So that is my January wrap up, and now we're on to my February TBR. So my January goal was to read 3 books in a month. That was before I knew that lockdown was a thing. I'd set myself a goal of 3 books. So I'm quite happy that I managed 4, and it maybe even could have been 5 if I didn't spend so long faffing about the other book. So for February, I'm setting myself the goal for 4 books again, aiming for 1 a week, but I might be able to push through and get a 5th book in. I'm not sure, but 4 is my minimum. I've got 3 of them here. I'm not sure what I'm going to read. I literally finished The Goddess Revolution this morning, so I'm literally choosing right now what I'm going to read next. So I think I'm going to go with The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. I actually haven't seen the film, and I want to read the book before I watch the film. Let me know if you prefer watching the film or reading the book first. I have to read the book first, because otherwise I get annoyed at like differences, or like I prefer reading the book first and creating my own like image in my head, and then watching the film and seeing how different it is. So if you don't know Nicholas Sparks, he's written like so many. The Notebook, Dear John, what else have I seen? The Lucky One, Safe Haven, The Best of Me, that kind of vibe. So I'm excited to read this. And also I've been kind of trying to swap between fiction and non-fiction. I did read obviously these 2 one after the other, so that was 2 fictions, but then this one was non-fiction, so I'm feeling the story again. But I like reading both equally, so I am trying to like kind of balance it out-ish. This is number 1, this is what I'm going to start reading tonight, I think. I'm trying to make it a habit to read every night before bed, even if it's literally for like 10 minutes, and then at the weekend I try and do an hour of reading in the morning, like to start the day off like nice and slow. And obviously at the moment with lockdown, I've been having Zoom classes for college instead of like going into the studio, so I've been trying to get up a little bit earlier so that I have like half an hour-ish to read in the morning as well, so that's how I'm trying to get through my books. Next one, I don't know if these will be in this order or not, but this is what I'm aiming for. Next up is Turtles All the Way Down, which is another John Green book, which I got in the charity shop video. It's another like quick one, I think. So I feel like there's a lot of John Green books that came out after I stopped reading, like literally just stopped reading. And I do really like his writing style, so I wanted to get more into that. But if there's any other authors like John Green that you guys recommend, let me know. Also, I really don't like reading hardbacks. Is anyone else like that, or is that just me being picky? Because I know some people prefer hardbacks, but I just prefer a paperback. I'm a simple gal. Next up is Louise Pentland, World Like Me. This is a hefty book, like size-wise. I think it's like the evolution where, yeah, the text is quite big, so I'm thinking again that'll be like a quick read. I'm also trying to read like hardbacks while we're still at home, because I like to take my books like out with me. Like if I'm going to work, I'll take a book with me so I can read it in my break or whatever. If you don't know Louise Pentland, she is a YouTuber, like lifestyle, motherhood, that kind of vibe. So I've never read any of her books before, so this will be a first. And I've heard good things, so we'll see how it goes. So that is my 3 books. The 4th one is the 5 AM Club. My flatmate's reading it right now, which is why I don't have it, but I'm gonna borrow it and she's done. And yeah, I've been seeing it around a lot lately, and I don't want to necessarily get up at 5 AM. But I am interested to read it and read the like techniques and things it gives you, and yeah, I just enjoy that kind of book, like where I can implement it to my own life. So that's the 4th one. So we have The Longest Ride, World Like Me, Turtles All the Way Down, and the 5 AM Club. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought, and come back next month to see what I thought of them, or if I even managed to read them. So that is the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, or if you want to read them. Let me know what you thought if you have read them. give me a big thumbs up if you liked this video, and I'll see you next month for another book chat. Bye!